and welcome to Pathway of Faith Ministries podcast. I'm your host, Dr. William Johnson. Good to be with you at another Thursday afternoon. Our subject tonight is love, and where does it come from? Love, and where does it come from? So, I suppose that the first place to start is a definition of what love is. Now, it's one of the most overused words uh, in the English language, and it is often used as a way to take advantage of young ladies or young ladies taking advantage of young men. But most of the time, it's the young men taking advantage of young ladies with the words, I love you. And uh, there's another problem here with love. Uh, the word intimacy uh, goes about camouflaging itself as love. So to start with, we need to clarify the difference between love and intimacy. Intimacy is not love. Intimacy is relationships between people. It can be between men and women and between dogs and men and between dogs and women. Any things where we have a contact with uh, and have some type of exchange of conversation. Um, when I go to the barber, that's an intimate relationship with the barber. And when I go to a classroom, the teacher is a lady. I have an intimate relationship with the teacher. And so it's often misused, this word intimacy. The judge will often say to the accused, were you intimate with him or her? Meaning, did you have physical relations with her or him? And that's a completely misuse of the concept. And it's used in Hollywood, often misused in movies. Intimacy, when we're in far off Alaska, and uh, the troops are remote. They're in a remote area, and there's no women. At least that's the way it used to be. No women. So they weren't suffering from sexual relationships. They were suffering from a lack of intimacy. And so, oftentimes, people who are involved in sexual relationships uh, out of wedlock, they think that their promiscuity with sexual relations is love, and really all it is intimacy, because uh, we just feel that we really feel good at these times of sexual relations. And when we would get married, thinking intimacy is love, when we get married and we find out all we had going in this relationship was sex, then there's trouble, and divorce is soon to ensue. So we need to know to distinguish that love and intimacy are two different things. Now, a definition for love, and I have thought about this for years. I even wrote a book about it. Pathway of Faith. Um, oh no, that was a different book. Um, Beyond Sex: The ABCs of Courtship and Marriage. You can get it at the bookstores. Uh, Over at the big bookstore where you order books, uh, some of the local large bookstores, uh, Amazon bookstores, and those places. If you can't find it, just look me up on my website, Pathway of Faith Ministries .org, and say I can't find your book. So, but I'm sure you won't have any trouble. What is love? Love is the desire for the highest good for someone else. It's the desiring of the highest good for someone else. So, no matter how many uh, people that we are in association with, or in contact with, or that we may court, we need to remember that intimacy, love is wishing the highest good for someone else. And so that someone else, if it doesn't lead to marriage, they should be better off uh, for having met me than they were when before. Male or female, should be better off, even though we didn't see our way clear to get married. They should be better off because they met you. Um, and That's the definition for love, wanting the highest good for someone else. Now, we look at the Bible, since this is a Bible station. The Bible has four unique forms of love. They are communicated with the Greek words Eros, Eros, Storge, Storge, Philia, Philia, and Agape, capital Agape, and are characterized by romantic love, family love, brotherly love, and God's divine love. So we have four kinds of love mentioned in the Bible. Now, four unique forms of love are found in the scriptures. And just take a look at them. We have Eros. It signifies a sensual or romantic love. It originates from the mythological Greek god Eros or Eros, associated with sexual desire, physical attraction, and passionate love. In the Bible, Eros love is reserved to marriage, celebrating the beauty of intimacy within the sacred bond of marriage. Now, they say, well, uh, I add another one that we should know, even though I don't believe it's in the Bible, and that's lust. And that's an English word, and it means the same thing as Eros, except that it is strictly for sexual gratification, and it has nothing to do with forming a continuous bond. So we need to put that in there because somebody might say, well, Eros is in the Bible, it's okay. Well, it isn't okay. It is for married folks. There is the, uh, a lot I could say about that, but time is not going to permit it. The next type is storge, and storge represents family love. The natural affection bond between parents and children. Now, mom is the one that cooks the food most of the time for you. Sometimes dad, but most of the time mom. And when you're a baby, uh, the she brings you the bottle, maybe breastfeeding you, as well as among the siblings. So it's affection between parents and children and siblings. I know that my siblings, um, when I was growing up, they were great. My big brother made sure the big guys at school didn't beat me up. Um, I had another big brother, and he was very instrumental in my safety. My sisters were just right on the ball, uh, taking care of whatever they thought that I was going to need. And so there were 11 of them. Well, there was 10 of them, then me. I was the seventh child. If you check the Bible, the seventh child, that's special. So, siblings. So I just love my siblings. Matter of fact, when I pray, I tell the Lord, thank you for my parents and thank you for my siblings because they had a lot to do with what I am now. And my siblings they're still very much in contact, and they are there for all um, the high times in your life, birthdays. If you're in the hospital, they're right there. So they let you know that they're very interested in your well-being. So storge is family love, the natural affection bond between parents and children and children. And so that is a very good thing there. Now there's philia. Philia refers to brotherly love or friendship. So it doesn't have to just pertain to brothers. It's also friendship. It's a love based on companionship, fondness, and personal attachment. So you can see brothers and sisters are sometimes attached very close. They look out for one another. They care about one another. And the saying that so and so is closer than a brother. That's a high praise. Uh, so it's the love that develops with families, and it is characterized by mutual protection and care. Mutual protection and care. So when I was a youngster, that was a really good part of philia love because I had people looking out for me. And then the last one, the fourth one, is agape love, capital Agape. Agape represents ungodly love. Excuse me, unconditional love. Agape represents unconditional love. That's the kind of love that you really hope that is is the kind of love that brings a couple together for marriage. Unconditional love. I love you unconditionally. A selfless love. It's a sacrificial love. Um, Sacrificial. I might, I am willing to sacrifice some things that I really want uh, because of circumstances. I might not move to another town for a job because uh, of reasons in the family. I won't try to name off a bunch of reasons. It's the highest form of love, and it is exemplified by God's love for humanity. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And every time I hear that, I almost break into song, everlasting life. And so, agape love. And you can only love with agape love. Um, as a matter of fact, you can only love with all these four loves if you have the love of God in you. And I might add, when you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, and then um, uh, you're going to receive the Holy Spirit. And when that happens, you'll be able to love with agape love. Up until then, you can love with human love, but you can't love with agape love. You don't have that kind of love in you. And so we just have to put up with worldly love. When you get married with worldly love, there's a problem. Now, let's talk about where love comes from. Let me put up our chat box because I want to make sure that you can hear me. Oh, somebody said hello, and that's Marilyn Williams, and I say hello, Sister Marilyn Williams. Um, Good evening. Now, there's a poem that I wrote called "Love Arrived," and it portrays the evaluations that should be prompted in the awakening of the senses to the possibility of the development of a lasting relationship. The developing of a lasting relationship. Now, I would like to say uh, it uh, it portrays the evaluation. So you should have your ears attuned to what is being evaluated. Uh, it is absent of any searching. In other words, the person is not, male or female, is not going about looking and looking to find a mate. They are being gregarious and they are mixing with people. Hopefully, they're Christian people. Um, Christian people should marry Christian people, but we associate with non-Christians. But when we're talking about relationships for the purpose of perhaps be finding a mate, we associate with Christian people, but we don't search through them. We just are present, looking friendships and relationships and so forth. Now, we don't be looking, searching, but the sensitivity to the elements of a fellowship that is maturing into a relationship. So we're sensitive when things are changing. So this dispels the mythical falling in love, that falling in love motif, replacing it with a conscientious, well thought out observation. So love comes about through a conscientious, well thought out observation of the important factors affecting a love decision. So we're sorting out the important factors affecting a love decision. We're not love, but we're sorting out. We want to decide if this is the person, and so this is all, as I said, uh, in my book Beyond Sex, the elements of courtship and marriage. All right, so well thought out observations of the important factors affecting a love decision. The important factors affecting a love decision. The poem uses substitution to examine those elements that are transitory. Elements that are transitory. One by one, the transitory are separated from those that are deemed enduring. So we don't want the transitory. We want those habits and those uh, mannerisms and ways of looking at the world that are enduring. Finally, the pluses have been separated from the transitory. When you get all the pluses and you subtract the transitory, then you calculate them all up. And the thing is, you're not doing this with a pen and pencil or pen and paper, pencil and paper. It's in your mind and heart. But you can use a pencil and paper if you'd like. To love is a wise and enduring decision. So we come about the determination to love or not to love, and it is a mental process. See, boy, that doesn't sound very romantic. Well, it is because it is a subconscious type of thing. It's awakening of the senses. And so we do a lot of things by the senses. We drive a lot by our senses rather than seeing everything. We are able to decide by our senses. And so we go through life often using our senses, not calculating every step. So then, finally, we have the poem. And I think it's a great poem because even though I wrote the poem myself, but it's reminiscent of what I have experienced in the past. Love Arrived by Dr. William H. Johnson. I didn't notice until we departed the aura your presence leaves behind, tabulated by my senses, sending messages to my mind. I don't know when it started, only that you are there, silent revelations telling my soul to care. God's grace is my fortress. His word is my test. Bathed in his assurance, my heart is at rest. It's not your beauty, intellect, or grace, or the look of elegance in your face, nor is material a thing, time, or space. It's the content of your character, your relationship with God above, knowing that your thoughts and deeds are anchored in his love. I hope you like the poem, and I hope that you catch the different elements of it that helps you in your travels. The poem is not published. It's in a forthcoming poem book, and it'll be in the usual bookstores. I've had a wonderful time talking to you this evening, as always, and I might say that um, you could visit our website, pathwayoffaithministries.org website, and all the talks we've had in the past are there, at least most of them. And so you can visit, and there's no cost. And so you're welcome to visit us. And if you have a notion, if you appreciate these different broadcasts, you could leave an offering. We have by mail or PayPal, uh, and so you can feel free to leave a donation, I should say, not an offering, a donation. So we would appreciate it. And until next week, I'll be glad to see you. Uh, and don't forget to go to church on Sunday.